who's the best acquirer for your business? In a lot of our meetings with prospective clients and people who are contemplating an exit of their company, they say, who's going to buy my business? Who's the best person to buy my business? Sometimes that conversation goes in the direction of who would pay the most for something. But in reality, there's many other variables that need to be contemplated as to who the optimal counterparty may be. Some of those variables are just going to be part of your business and really can't be changed, and so your business will naturally find its way or be best suited for a particular type of counterparty. And in other situations, it's going to be dictated more by you. You'll have your choice as to what type of acquirer you'd like to sell your business to. And there are things to contemplate in each of these. So for today's video, we want to just cover 3 general categories of acquirers. There are many others and nuances within each group, but at least to give you a general overview. Group number 1, strategics. These are large corporations, sometimes publicly traded, that specialize in a particular industry, product, service, geography, and are looking for means of growing their business, either in expanding what products they offer, expanding their capacity to provide more of the same services, or purely to acquire your clients that you've developed in a business that's very similar to theirs. Now, strategics oftentimes are not looking to buy a company and hold it separately. They oftentimes want to acquire and absorb that company over a period of time as to part of their operations. Now, for some sellers, it's a good thing or an indifferent thing. To other sellers, it's more important to maintain legacy or naming of a business. And so, depending on what someone's preferences are, among many other considerations, a strategic may or may not be the optimal choice. That being said, they do have typically deeper pockets, a check writing ability, and when the situation arises, the capacity to move forward quickly should they deem it a time-sensitive or important project. Group number 2 would be private equity aggregators. So these are typically funded private equity firms, so either funded through endowments, pensions, or otherwise, and these private equity groups are going out and trying to aggregate a certain industry and relabel it something new, but by doing so, by looking for established companies. And so you've seen this with certain types of software and more of the tech-oriented things, but we've seen it in B2B services, and we've seen it with home services. So there's been a huge aggregation of pest control and gutter cleaning companies. On a B2B services side, there's been a big aggregation of auto parts distributors. Also, on the B2B side, we've seen it a lot with specialty consulting firms that you would see a large private equity-backed consulting firm go around aggregating them more. Medical services, medical devices, and the list goes on and on. But the notion being that they're out there with committed capital to go around and aggregate businesses. Now, how this differentiates itself to a degree from a strategic is oftentimes this private equity firm does not have leadership in its helm for these companies. They may have a platform company that they acquire that they then use that CEO to then run the aggregating strategy as it evolves. The point being is they usually need more than just the company, and they also want some of the expertise that comes along with it. So it's something to consider that if selling to a private equity aggregator, there will usually be a requirement to stick around longer and some post-transaction services, sometimes longer than a strategic would otherwise ask for. Now again, not every case is the same, and many times a strategic will ask for someone to stick around longer, but from a generality sense. So group number 3 to contemplate is a private equity or quasi-private equity owner-operator. And so this starts to cover groups like independent sponsors, search funds, high net worth individuals, small investment groups, but people who are buying a company with the concept of themselves personally owning it and operating it, and perhaps going out and aggregating more of them, but them being the executives. And so in these types of situations, there will usually be a transition period as well as an education period, because they may not be experts in the field, but sometimes they are, right? Sometimes it could be an executive who left a large corporate that is now looking to go out and buy their own company to start. So something to consider here is oftentimes capital can be a little more fragmented, and you have to double check that, but in today's day and age, that capital stack and that capital base supporting these types of acquisitions has gotten considerably stronger and is really a good sector of potential acquirers. But at the same time, the person you're selling to is likely to be the person you're interacting with on a post-transaction basis, whereas sometimes private equity firms, you're dealing with an executive at their portfolio company as opposed to kind of the overarching ownership company. And at the strategic, very much the same. You may be dealing with a particular line manager, a unit owner, or champion. And so 3 general groups to think of when selling a business: strategics, private equity aggregators, and private equity and quasi-private equity owners and operators. There's many other participants, but these are just a few, and these are the types of conversations we have with our clients to determine who is the best acquirer from a probability basis and also from a preference perspective. Hope the week continues to go well for everyone. Keep pushing forward. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow.